Hello everyone, this is Erik, the Asian movie enthusiast, and this is my review of No Man's Land, a Chinese thriller from 2013 that is considered by many critics to be a neo-western, which is generally defined as a film that reflects the traditions of the western film genre, but is set in contemporary or modern environments. Now, No Man's Land takes place in a very desolate region of China in the northwestern deserts. The film begins with a poacher who is being arrested by a police officer after capturing a rare falcon that is worth a lot of money on the black market. A second poacher shows up and kills a police officer with his jeep, and then tells the first guy to get away, while he stays behind and takes the rap for it. Now afterward, he hires one of the best lawyers in China in his defense, forcing the lawyer to travel a long distance to get there. At the trial, the lawyer successfully gets the poacher acquitted by arguing that the crash happened because the police officer was drunk. Now after this victory, which happens within the first 10 minutes of the film, the lawyer takes the poacher's car as collateral and begins his long drive back to China's eastern region. But during his travels across the desert, this lawyer is faced with a series of challenges and violent conflicts with some shady people. Now, there are certain aspects of No Man's Land that help to make it a proficient, well-made film overall. Direction, acting, and pacing are all impressive here. The director is a man by the name of Ning Hao. I've seen a small handful of his other films, most of which I did not like. Mongolian Ping Pong was good, in my opinion, but Crazy Stone and Crazy Racer are both horrendously overrated, in my opinion. I still have no idea why so many people love those movies. I did not like them much at all, actually. So needless to say, No Man's Land is the best of those films, in my opinion, by a country mile. So this is by far the best thing that this director has done from what I've seen so far. And it's not even close. Hao definitely ups his game here and creates a movie that is deceptively fun and intense kind of at the same time, despite having a leisurely pace for much of its runtime. This is just so well balanced and efficient in how it uses every scene to build to the next. The film is equally interesting to watch when the danger is presented and when the danger is inferred. And that's a pretty impressive accomplishment for a director. Now, I've mentioned pacing twice already in this review, so I should probably elaborate. No Man's Land is not a thrill-a-minute ride. It's not one of those types of thrillers. Meaning that, it generally uses a slower pace that is interrupted by short bursts of thrills and violence. But those thrills are very impactful because they are well executed and properly set up by a plentiful dose of slow burn tension and a sprinkling of black humor. How constructs No Man's Land is a very fluid series of interactions between a variety of characters. They clash against each other at times and then get separated. But the viewer is not really entirely sure if the conflict has been resolved with the protagonist, or if that other character is going to reappear later and cause more problems for our lead character. So that creates a sense of danger and anticipation for the viewers from the viewer's perspective. Now remember, this lawyer is in the middle of the desert. There's basically one strip of road going through this desert and a few stops along the way, so he needs to fend for himself much of the time. I also mentioned the acting earlier, and I will say that the performances in this movie are solid all around. Pretty much everyone nails their character. The viewer will definitely get a good feel for the characters and eventually get an idea of what kind of people they are, mostly by their actions. The lead actor is especially good in this because he effectively portrays a lawyer who gets a cop killer off the hook. So you're like, at the beginning of the movie, you're like, I don't know if I like this guy too much. But then he does everything he can to help a girl who is being held captive by a slimy old man in the middle of nowhere. So, in like manner, the poacher is a man who should not be messed with, but he has a certain kinship to the lawyer that complicates their relationship. So, there's some pretty good stuff in this. And with that said, there's not really a lot of traditional character development in this film because the motives behind their actions are frequently inferred instead of explained. And this is especially true for the antagonist, which includes the poacher. The viewer will need to pay close attention to the details in this movie and kind of piece together what's going on in the character's mind. So some people may not like that, but I kind of did. Now, despite the classification as a thriller, there is no graphic violence in this, but it's still impactful. The violence is impactful due to the aforementioned pacing structure, which sets things up. And also, there are some events that look like they would hurt really bad. And this includes some car collisions and gunshots. So this movie does have its impactful visceral moments, but it's not overly graphic in how it's presented. The desert locales, the desolate desert locales with minimal populations adds nicely to the atmosphere. The setting and surrounding environments are a big element to this film and make it memorable in that sense. Dialogue is moderate in quantity, meaning that there are certain stretches of time, especially early on, they have minimal talking, which is pretty cool. So overall, really, No Man's Land is another one of those Chinese thrillers that has gone under the radar in the West, and I've been reviewing some of these films, in recent months. Stuff like The Looming Storm or Black Coal Thin Ice. It has not received an American physical release, to my knowledge. At least No Man's Land hasn't, but it is available on Cineflix, which is a legitimate subscription streaming service. But if you ever get a chance to watch this flick, check it out. I think a lot of people are going to like it. And as always, I'll see you next time.